Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Root Beer here with another question from our 2018 Euclid contest. This time we're looking at question number 3, or I should say we're about to look at question number 3. Let's take a look together now. Okay, so what have we got here? 3 is split up into 3 parts, 2 light bulbs and 1 written, just like the last 2 questions. And what have we got for 3a? What is the value of square root of 4 plus root 4 to the power of 4? Okay. So this shouldn't be too bad. So square root of 4 plus square root of 4 all to the power of 4. And let's start simplifying things. Now you could cancel out the square root and part of the to the power 4, but I'm actually going to change the square root 4 into a 2. And then collect things together, we'll get a root 6 all to the power 4. And here's where you might need to realize that square roots cancel out with 2's, to the power of 2. So square roots cancel out with squares. And you could look at this a lot of ways. You could say the square root of 6 is the same as 6 to the 1/2. And so then this is 6 to the 1/2 to the 4. And then exponents to exponents multiply. So we've got 6 to the 4 over 2, which is 6 to the 2 is 36. Alternatively, what you could also realize is, well, square roots and squares cancel out. So another way to write this up would be to say, well, this 4 up here, we can change that into a 2 times 2. And then this is root 6 to the 2 to the 2, reversing this multiplication of exponents rules. And then, the square root and the square cancel out, and we're still left with 6 to the 2. And we still get 36. Writing it up either way is fine. Again, it's a light bulb question, so we really just need that final answer of 36. But if you're worried about your calculation skills, if you're worried that you might have hit the wrong button on a calculator, showing your work is a great way to get part marks if you don't get the right final answer. Okay, 3b. There is exactly one pair, xy, of positive integers for which the square root of 23 minus x is equal to 8 minus y squared. I feel like this y squared, we're going to have to remember the fact that it is positive integers. But let's see. So just one pair of positive integers. They just want the pair xy. Okay. So what can we do here? Well, 23 minus x square root 8 minus y squared. Now, I'm not really enthusiastic about manipulating this particular expression just because it's one equation and we've got two unknowns here. So instead what I want to do is sort of sit back and reason about it. So y is an integer. And that means so is y squared. And so is 8 minus y squared. Okay, so when we're square rooting over here, 23 minus x must be a perfect square. Well, this gives us some possible candidates as to what 23 minus x might be. What could we have? Well, we can't have 25 or 36 or anything bigger because that would mean x has to be negative, and we're told x is positive. So we could have 16, or we could have 9, or 4, or 1, or I guess we could have 0. Okay. So each of these is a possibility, and then that gives us possibilities for what 8 minus y squared must be. Okay. Now, y has to be a positive integer, so 8 minus y squared, it could be 8 minus, well, it can't be 0 squared, but it could be 8 minus 1 squared, certainly. Incidentally, these will then tell me 23 minus x is 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0. Not negative values here, by the way. Only positive, only non-negative values, because the square root symbol does specifically mean non-negative. So what could we have? Well, we could subtract, y could be 1, so we'd have 8 minus 1 squared. Or we could have y is 2, so 8 minus 2 squared is 4. I'm seeing that is on both lists. So just because they tell me that there's only one solution, that probably is what I need, but let's just go a step further. What else could we have? We could have y is 3, but then we'd have 8 minus 9, and that's negative 1, and that's definitely not on the list. So we can ignore those, because it's just going to get more negative. Okay, so 8 minus y squared is 4, so y squared is 4, so y is 2. Yes, negative 2 would work, but remember y has to be a positive integer. And square root of 23 minus x is 4. 23 minus x is 16. And so 23 minus 16 is equal to x. X is 7. And so our final answer, xy, is going to be 7, 2. And there we go. So that's the B part there. Again, show as much or as little work as you feel is necessary, but just make sure you put the right answer in the box provided in the booklet. Okay, now for the written question, C part. The line with equation y equals mx plus 2 intersects the parabola with equation y equals ax squared plus 5x minus 2 at the points 1, 5, and we'll call that P, and then Q, which they don't tell us. And we want to determine the slope of the line, the sort of leading coefficient of the parabola, and the coordinates of Q. All right. So I know P is on both of these. Let's just copy a few things down. P was 1, 5. Y is equal to mx plus 2. And y is equal to ax squared plus 5x minus 2. Okay. So, what can we do here? I feel like there's probably a couple approaches. You could take this 1 and plug it in for x, and then you'd get 5 is equal to m plus 2. And I was just sort of... I did not plan that to get me m immediately, but I guess that works. So, P is on the line. So 5 is equal to m times 1 plus 2. So 5 is m plus 2. So there's our answer to 1. M is equal to 3. Okay, now I know what the line is. And we should also be able to, I think, figure out A, because you can say that P is on the parabola. This wasn't my first thought either. What I was going to do, and I realize this is probably more complicated than the question needs, is the y's are going to have to be equal to each other, so you get mx plus 2 is equal to ax squared plus 5x minus 2. Rearrange that into a single quadratic. We know 1 is a root, and I'm realizing for question 3 that that's a bit unnecessary. And it's also the less obvious thing to do, I guess. So P is on the parabola, so 5 is equal to a 1 squared plus 5 times 1 minus 2. So that's a plus 5 minus 2. That's a plus 3. So to answer 2, we know that a is equal to 2. Okay. And finally, what is Q? Now we can set the y's equal to each other, but I know the slope of the m value is 3, and I know the a value is 2, so... Okay, now let's just rearrange it into a single quadratic. So we'll get 2x squared plus 2x minus 4. Divide by 2, x squared plus x minus 2. And this should have a factor of x minus 1. And what do I have to multiply minus 1 by to get minus 2? Positive 2. So x being minus 2 gives q, and then y is equal to 3 times minus 2 plus 2, and that's negative 6 plus 2. So y is negative 4. So our answer to part 3, q is at minus 2 minus 4. Okay, a quick double check, is -2, -4 also on this parabola? Just a very quick thing to do that we can do to double check our answer for Q before moving on. And 2 times -2 squared, which is 4, so that's 8, plus 5 times -2, well, that's going to be 8 minus 10 minus 2, and that's going to be 8 minus 12, and that is -4. So yeah, that works out. We've got our Q, and I think that's it. We weren't asked for a fourth thing. So there we go. That's question number 3. We'll scroll down to get ready for question number 4. I will see you for that in the next video. Take care.